to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
I've been doing this podcast since September of 2012, and boy, are my lips tired.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And our friend Debbie G is dealing with yet another medical issue. This is not a major one; it's a minor one, but it's going to stop her from being a part of the show today. And I haven't heard from Neo, so that tells me he's probably on the road, as he has been for the last few weeks. So it's just going to be me and my guest today. But I got a really cool guest joining me. Her name is Jennifer Pilates, and I was just asking her before we got started here whether or not she was actually related to Joseph Pilates, who got the whole Pilates thing started back in, I think it was the 30s or something like that.
1800s.
Is it 1800s? Is it really? Wow,
Mhm.
It goes back that far. Yeah. Okay. And you were telling me that it's possible you might actually be related to him, which is pretty cool.
It's like such an honor. Like yeah, I can't wait to find out and get the final results.
Mm-hmm. And you came to that kind of indirectly because, like you told me, it was more of like a branded name because of what you do. How cool that what you do actually could have that kind of connection.
It's a blessing. It's the law of attraction.
Yeah. Vibration is everything. It really is.
Absolutely.
So how'd you get involved in Pilates and just the general thing with exercise and working on yourself?
So I'll tell you, people, when we manifest, we don't always think about the how things are going to happen. And growing up, I remember watching, I'll age myself a little bit, Denise Austin back in the day.
Oh, I remember Denise Austin.
Right?
Yeah.
She was everywhere. She'd be in the Caribbean working out. She'd be at Disneyland. She would be everywhere. And I just remember thinking to myself, how cool would that be to have that job? You're always going to be in shape and you get to travel. That was the end of that. Okay.
Beautiful locations too. I mean, those locations were
beautiful location that she's been in her entire life. So that was the end of that. Now, fast forward into my life. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to own my clothing line. Like I was going to be the business girl climbing the corporate ladder, of which I did. Until in 1997, I was in a pretty traumatic car accident. And it was through that car accident that I found Pilates through a rehabilitative care program. And so all these years later, right? Like here it comes back to me, through not the best of ways, but yet such an incredible blessing. I was in so much pain. It's soft tissue damage from the base of my skull all the way down into my pelvic region.
Whoa.
And yeah, it was pretty bad. I was unable to work. I went from being, a healthy, vibrant 20-something to can't get in the car and drive and go to work. It really debilitated me. And so I was put on a leave of absence while I was going to doctor's offices about 7-8 hours a day. And I was seeing everyone from neurologists to psychologists to massage therapists, acupuncturists, the Pilates trainer, you name it. I was seeing them. And the blessing is that this all transpired while I was in Boulder, Colorado, which was the mecca of the holistic healthcare at that time.
Yeah.
Growing up on Cape Cod, I didn't really know, like I knew, but I didn't know. And so now here I am experiencing all of these different modalities down to cranial sacral. And so once I really got into the Pilates training program, and that was the only thing that was relieving any of my pain at all. And so I rehabbed for a year. And as the story goes, at the end, there was a lawsuit and there was a little bit of money that came out of it, not a lot. And law of attraction, it was just enough to go to the best Pilates school in the world, which is the Pilates Center in Boulder. And so at the end of my rehabilitative program, they sort of knew what was going on with me. They're like, you should just go to the school. Like you're basically already teaching this. You should do this. And so that's what I did. I applied that money to the school. I was transitioning then out of the corporate world. Again, the universe stepped in. I attempted to go back to work. Things weren't working out. At the time, I was specializing in Alzheimer's disease, and it was very near and dear to my heart. And what was interesting was because I have gone through this concussion and I did have, a brain injury, when I was in work, not everyone, including myself, necessarily understood that I still wasn't well because of the company I was keeping. Working with the Alzheimer's. So as it said, the company was private. They were going public and they weren't doing so well. And I knew layoffs were coming. And so I gave myself. And I said, hey, if you need to lay someone off, lay me off. And so it was a very big decision for someone in their 20s who had climbed up the corporate ladder. I would almost say too fast, right? Because always having to prove yourself. You're so young. Who's going to listen to you? It was like, there was a lot of stuff unpacked with all of this. And so the day happened. My boss showed up, the HR person, they're all like, hey, let's go to lunch. I'm like, yeah, hey, let's go to lunch. And the next thing I know, it's you're being laid off and here's your package. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Wait, what?
Bit of a shock.
So it was a bit of a shock, even though I asked for it.
Mm.
And so it was through that I was a little shaken up. And then I still tried to hang on to that corporate world. I tried to do contractual work with other senior living facilities. And then finally the universe was like, we really got to help her. She's not getting the message here. And, so the little, I call it the frying pan upside the head moment happened. And so in the Pilates school I was, and I started doing what probably a lot of my friends did in their 20s, which was I did some really cool contractual jobs. I was an event planner. I was a wedding planner. I was working for this little Italian restaurant with all my friends while I was going to Pilates school. I, found this artist inside of me painting. So it was all these amazing things were awoken through, which was really a traumatic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Truly one of the best blessings of my life. So, it's, I thank the gentleman that hit me that day.
You call it a frying pan moment. I call them 2x4 moments, but they amount.
That too. Yeah. I mean, you have those as well. Sometimes it's the universe. If you're not listening, the whisper, it gets louder. And then finally it's like, whoo, did you get that message?
And the other thing that you mentioned that really resonated with me, because I had one of them recently, is you ask for something and then you get it and it's a shock.
Right?
I mean, that really can throw you. It can throw you a lot. I don't know how it worked for you. For me, it was tied to something that listeners know I've talked about fairly frequently. My wife left me and we ended up getting divorced, and there was a whole series of things that went along with that. And I realized that leading up to that event, I had been asking for asks that really did require the relationship to break up, but I didn't think of it that way. Mm-hmm. So when the relationship broke up, I said, well, wait a minute, hold on here. What's going on?
Right.
But I'd actually asked for it and didn't realize I'd even asked for it.
Oh, truly. I mean, I can remember there were months leading up. When I started in the senior living industry, I was 15 years old. And so I had done and worked through every position that I could. And I got to a place and the company that I was working for said, look, like, you need to get seasoned. Where do you want to live? We're going to get you a job with another company. You're going to go, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, come back. You get to pick any state you want to be in with us.
Wow.
And you get to run it. So, right now, this isn't like 23 years old, right? Back in the day, someone said, yeah. So I was like, well, I want to go to Colorado. So I did something that now I always tell people don't do. Do not take a job for the location. Do not take it for the money.
I was going to ask you, because it sounds like you're going to all these resort places. You grew up in a resort area in the Cape. You go to Boulder. It's like, is there a thing going on here?
Oh, it gets better. I also lived in Scottsdale, Arizona for 9 years.
Yeah.
I lived in Calabasas for 94 days. I lived in Bristol, Rhode Island for 2 years. So I've the Back Bay of Boston for a few years. So there's right now in Destin, Florida. I think that when certain things are ingrained in you, you're just being guided, and it just so happens that they're all these resort places.
That's good though. That's knowing yourself too. So that's also a good thing.
Yeah. So it's been quite the journey over the years. And I find that once you sort of are okay with yourself and you're willing to work on yourself and come into alignment. And we're not always going to stay there. We're not perfect. But when we work on that body, mind, spirit alignment, and we're willing to at least attempt to lean in to our faith and our hope and attempt to go with the flow, that is when the magic happens. And it's in those moments.
Isn't it interesting? You don't have to be perfectly in alignment. That we kind of skip over that sometimes, but you really don't have to be. If you're in the ballpark, you're doing well.
Exactly. Like, no one is perfect. We are all human beings here on this school of earth. So we're here to learn. It's not supposed to be perfect. Like, I always joke, like, where's my unicorn? Where's my rainbow? Where's my lollipop? And the truth is, do I have some of those moments? I sure do. They're usually when the universe is cracking a joke at me. Like, and I said, like, that happened to me the other day. I was having a little bit of a frustrating day, and I
Mm.
was guided to go to this store, and I'm like, fine, I'll just go. Like, I'm fine. Whatever you want me to do, universe, I'll do it. So I go to the store and I go to check out, and I'm not even. They don't have what I needed,
Mm.
but I noticed at the checkout, the woman was really upset, and I looked at her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm not." And I said, "What's going on?" And so we end up having this most in-depth conversation, which turns into an intuitive reading for her,
Wow.
which validated all of these insecurities that she was having.
Mm.
And so in that moment, I was like, wow, here I was at home. I was having a cranky day. I was frustrated. She's here frustrated. I came, I delivered a message. I feel so good that I was of service. Now she feels great. And, there's your rainbow moment. It's all
Yeah.
in perception of what's going on with life.
Perspective really is everything. It's something that I've come to really appreciate just by doing this podcast. I've been doing it for a little over 10 years now. I've had hundreds of people on. I think I'm at episode. I think this is episode 1907. So that'll give you an idea. There's been quite a few of them, and that's the biggest takeaway that I have from all of this stuff. I mean, I've learned some great stuff. I've gotten free coaching. I've gotten all kinds of free stuff happening just by doing all this. But the best thing is all the different perspectives, including the ones that I didn't like when I first met them. But
Right.
those were actually the ones that gave me the most information in some cases, which
Sometimes
is
it's where
really
you're going to
interesting.
learn the most. I would say,
Yeah.
where you're feeling resistant, sit with it and try to figure out why.
Right.
Then try to lean into it, because what's being triggered in you is what really needs to be worked on.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is when you do actually listen, pay attention, give that crazy voice that you're listening to, this fighting chance, I find that's when my resistance barriers break down fastest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you receive your messages. You receive what you really needed to know. And it's getting out of our own way.
Yeah. Which we need a lot of practice at.
All the time. I had a meltdown earlier today, and my big thing was I removed myself from my environment. I started to go for a walk, which is for me a form of meditation. I was guided to put on music. The next thing you know, I'm laughing, I'm happy. And what I did was I stopped and I congratulated myself. Like, I'm so proud of you. Because if this would have been 3, 4, 5 years ago, I'd still be bitching about it now, right? But I literally shifted my mindset, shifted my energy, my body, mind, spirit connection. And so within a matter of minutes, boom, I'm back to me and I'm releasing what it was, because no one deserves to have that kind of power over you. And that's what you're doing when you're allowing someone to affect your emotions and what's going on with you.
Yeah, it's just a giveaway at that point. Yeah, please take my power. I don't want it anymore.
Please make me feel like hell. Yes. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
But you also, your story illustrates that we really can. It sounds crazy to say this. We can actually turn the energy around on a dime. You turned it around, not on a dime, but you turned it around really quickly. And at first glance, that seems impossible, but you really can do it.
You really can. And I always challenge myself more and more. I mean, because you can't always get up and just leave your environment, right? And so I will, when I'm working with clients, I'll encourage them and say, look, if you need to have a minute, take a minute. I don't care if you want to scream, jump, whatever you need to do. Don't harm yourself. Don't harm others. Do what you need to do. Take 90 seconds and then let it go. When you start to practice that, that's when you're able to make these shifts quicker and quicker. And then if there is a moment like you can't let something go, then that's when I really dig a little deeper and go, is it really the situation or is it really you? Let's dig in here. Like what's really, and it usually comes down to insecurities and lack of control, I find. 9 times out of 10, it's what it is, but it takes a lot of work. I don't want anyone to think like, oh, look at her. No. I was not always like this. No, very reactive, probably, but it takes practice. But the thing is once you realize how good you feel, and when you can feel good all the time, you don't want to hold on to anything and feel crappy. Why should you? You're not here on earth to be miserable. You're supposed to be here for happiness and love and gratitude, and learn how to work with the laws of attraction and bring what you desire. Because if it's in your heart, it's planted there for a reason. It means you deserve it and you should have it. So it's just aligning with it.
And the same coin flipped over on the other side. It's not like we're always going to be happy. It's not like everything's going to always be wonderful. We came into this place of polarity and contrast where crap happens. I kind of think we did so for a reason. We didn't just kind of show up here accidentally.
Well, look at it. I mean, look at right now your background. In the darkness, that is when you see the stars.
Yeah.
It's in the darkness. It's in those painful moments when growth can happen if you are willing to lean into it and sit with it.
And the reason I have that background, first reason I had it was because I thought it'd be cool for the topic. But what it evolved into pretty quickly was a reminder to myself that the universe has my back at all times.
I love that. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. The universe, nobody's out there going, hold on a minute. Let me just screw with Walt and Jennifer today.
Yeah.
No, the universe wants what is so best for us, the highest and best good for us. It's us that we get caught up in everything else. And that's when I would say, put on the horse blinders, stay in your lane, and remember what your goals are. Remember what your desires are. What is it that you want? Not your mom, not your dad, not your kids, not your neighbors. What do you really want? Because so many times, especially now with social media and all the noise out there, people forget what they want because they're so being told what they should want.
Now, you are a celebrity trainer, among other things. You have a number of different carts that you're on all at the same time. But you're a celebrity trainer, and Pilates is your last name. I mean, you're all into the exercise thing. Let's talk about the role that plays in mindset. I mean, it's complementary, isn't it? I mean, one goes with the other.
It does. And, Pilates is mindset and Pilates is breath work. And so how my coaching ever evolved is through Pilates. Clients are coming in and it becomes honestly Pilates/therapy 101. Without a doubt, hands down, all the time. It's not like I don't take on a client to see a client. People that come to see me are coming because there's something that's not right and it needs to be fixed. I'm the fix-it. I specialize in rehabilitative care. And so it really becomes this journey that we're on together of healing. And 9 times out of 10, what is going on in your body, that pain is generally coming from an emotion that is coming from something that is going on in your life, be it personally or professionally. And so we're always diving through that. And so that's how, honestly, my mindset empowerment coaching program began, because so much of that was happening throughout the Pilates sessions. Because the moment that I could get people to really open up and to go deeper and to get into the breath work, and then they're sharing a little bit about their day, even though I already know why the pain is there, usually 9 times out of 10, I already know. It's getting them to say it. It's getting them to release it. And so that's why, my clients have always stayed with me so long, because it's like after the first session, they're like, what did you do? Like literally their world feels changed after just one session. Sure. And that was always my mission. Well, when I was in so much pain and I was going through Pilates rehab and going through the school, when I graduated, my mission was if I could just help one person not be in pain, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever that is. And now 23 plus years later, I mean, I'm blessed with all of the people that I've been able to help. So it really goes hand in hand, the mindset work, the Pilates, the physical aspect. So there's your body, there's the mind, the mindset, and then the spiritual aspect, which comes in, which is, really connecting everything and bringing breath work into place.
So tying it all together. And it's interesting too. I had a guest on yesterday who's all about using little physical tricks to break mental patterns that are working against us. And you touched on the importance of connecting to what's going on emotionally and so forth. We've talked in the past here on the show in a variety of different ways with a variety of different guests about the various physical things you can do. But one of the things that came out yesterday, I still can't believe 1,900 episodes, we finally actually got down to this point. How did I miss it all this time? But we started talking about what she calls the limbic cycle. In other words, you get caught into that cycle of you're replaying the same thing over and over and over again. And you need you need just to break that, because all that's really happening is your subconscious mind is trying to protect you, and it's actually working against you by trying to protect you. And she has some really cool, just physical tricks for doing that. One of the conclusions that I came to after doing the show was, or during the show actually, was it's actually a pairing of tools. Like on the one hand, the physical tricks or the physical methods are about a quick way to break through. The emotional explorations are about a longer term way to make it more permanent, and the two really, really go together. So I kind of imagine, as you're talking about what you do, that was like a key piece. You're doing the Pilates to help people to, just, shake up patterns and so forth. And then once you got the shake up going, then you're leveraging it and turning into, let's go deeper.
Right. And the subconscious is key. And it's
Mhm.
getting into the subconscious to, as I would say, like almost remove an onion, remove a carrot, right? Like you've
Mhm.
got to get this belief out by the root and show that it doesn't belong there anymore. And then, and the key that some people miss is they'll pull it out, but they forget to replace it.
Mhm. Yeah.
To replace that with the belief that's now in your heart that you know you deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. So you developed a coaching practice. You also recently published a book. I think it's called The Change. Tell us about The Change.
Yes. So I was honored to be a co-author with Jim Lutz and Jim Britt and Les Brown, along with a few
Wow.
other amazing co-authors worldwide. And it's all about empowerment, insights into empowerment. And it was just such an important piece. And to be able to work with, I mean, Tony Robbins' coach. I mean, there was no, I couldn't not say yes to this opportunity to be with these three men who now, have just opened up a whole new world for me. Just my own mindset, let alone what I can help my clients with now. So that has been a true honor. And being a part of this book, it's out now. People can head over to my website, jenniferpilates.com, and grab their copy. Yeah. And I'm really very proud of that.
What was your biggest contribution in that book, do you think?
So I have my own chapter in the book
Mhm.
where I talk about how you can learn to live an empowered life from within, which
Okay.
coincides with my podcast and Empowered Within. So it's all about getting back to self and being okay and knowing that you are supposed to be happy, you are supposed to be empowered, and how important self-love and self-worth really is, which equates to you feeling empowered in your life.
Right, right. And Empowered Within is the name of your podcast. I don't think we even mentioned before that you had the podcast. How long have you been doing that now?
It'll be 2 years in May.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years in May. So she was born during the pandemic.
Right.
Actually, I was working with Tony Robbins at the time.
Oh.
And it was birthed through that. I had never listened to a podcast, knew nothing about podcasting. And it was through my work with him during a meditation, I heard, "You're doing a podcast." And I thought, okay. And then I heard, "But not now." So, right? So I bought a microphone, I put it on my desk, and it was at the very beginning of the pandemic, and there was a lot going on with my family. There was a lot of caretaking, a lot of drama going on. So I
Mhm.
knew like that this was not the time.
Yeah,
And
I
I
see.
was told this was not the time. And
Mhm.
so that January, I was told by a person who came to me. They knew what I was thinking about doing and how I was working with Tony. And they were like, "So how long have you not been doing your podcast?" I was like, and that was like, that's all I needed as a Taurus, that challenge. I was like,
Mm.
yeah, I'm doing that now. And so, but that was the universe's way of saying, okay, Jennifer, now's the time. And so then I released it in that May, and it's been amazing. I absolutely love it, adore it. I can't believe I wasn't doing it years prior.
Yeah. Well, it's similar for me. When I first started, I started because I'd gone through a horrible crash and burn and was trying to climb out unsuccessfully and needed help. I couldn't even afford to hire a coach. So I said, I know, I'll start a podcast. I'll get some free help that way. That'll work great, which by the way, it did. But the unexpected part was I didn't expect I was going to love it. I mean, it's fun.
It is so fun that at first it literally became my full-time job. So
Wow.
I purposely didn't really know how people did podcasting. Like I asked a couple of people some tips and tricks. And so I didn't know that people didn't interview tons of people all the time.
Mhm.
And so I was interviewing tons of people all the time. I was so booked out, so busy, and it really overtook my life. And so then,
Mm.
then there became that work-life balance, and then my Pilates and the coaching. So I refigured and reconfigured, and I loved the learning curve that I had, like being a
Mhm.
baby with it and crawling to walking to now. I'm like, okay, I have a good schedule. We have a huge wait list. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that wait list, but keep
Sure.
telling people thank you. Like I'm doing my best. And I just like you, I love it. I'm so honored. I believe that every person has a story and
Yeah.
every person has been through a challenge and every person has gotten through that challenge and has learned to live how to live an empowered life from within. And I believe every story should be told. And so that was the original mission and is part of the mission now. And then the other mission was I just wanted to be heard everywhere that could have a podcast. I just wanted to bring light, love, empowerment. And then when we surpassed that, now my new mission is okay, this year I want to serve 1 million people. And
Wow.
so I did not denote how, and that's the key, right? Law of attraction.
Mhm.
I'm not saying how, I'm just saying to the universe, I'm here and my goal is to serve 1 million people this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a goal. That's amazing.
No, right?
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Well, I know. I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years. I don't think I've reached 1 million yet. I'm getting close, but I'm not quite there.
Right? But I didn't denote how. So figure between my Pilates training program, my coaching program, the podcast, the book, somewhere in there, we're going to reach 1 million people.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really it's both ambitious and if you have the vibrational energy for that, it's exciting.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
depends on the day.
yeah, there's that too. There's
Yep.
that too.
You just got to flow with it.
I know that for myself, the main reason I do it 5 days a week. The main reason I do it 5 days a week is that it's one of my major sources of energy. I mean, I don't think of it as a career thing at all. It's just not. It's something I do primarily for myself, and then surprisingly, I have listeners, like a lot of listeners, and I'm helping them too. This is great. Not quite. I don't know why I thought I start a podcast. I'm not going to get listeners. Somehow I came to that conclusion, and for a long time I didn't have many listeners, and then all of a sudden they started showing up, and that was a bit of a surprise, honestly.
Right? Right.
It really is.
People wanted to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. It's cool, but now there's also a sense of responsibility that goes along with it too,
There is.
right?
Yeah. Showing up absolutely is super important. I don't know how you do it 5 days a week. I mean, if I was only doing podcasting, I would 100%. I'd do it 5 days a week. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I lean into what you were talking about, how there's always a line of people who wanted to be on the show. The same thing is true with me. I don't book more than a month out. I don't even allow my calendar to be open that far, and it's always booked up. I mean, there's maybe at the end of the month there's like a couple dates open, and that's the way it always is. And so I don't really have to do anything. All I have to do is make the time to do it.
Yep. No,
You
that's
know,
great. I did the same thing as you. Originally, I said all these people have their calendars booked out for a year. I was never so anxious in my life when I saw that my calendar booked out. I closed the whole thing down, and like you now, I don't open it up for more than a month or two at a time.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But you need to have also for yourself the sense that you're not tied down. I think it's one of the
Right.
reasons that I only book it a month
Yeah.
out. So if I need to shift my schedule, it's not going to be the end of the world. I haven't needed to shift my schedule. There was actually a time in the last couple months where I thought I might have to. Whoops. There goes the microphone. There was a time when I thought that I might have to, but I haven't had to. And I think it's just the energy of the
Yeah.
universe saying, well, you still have more to do here.
Exactly. No, I'm with you. There's certain months that I've decided that I won't, like my birthday month. I
Jennifer
won't.
Pilates.
Oh my God!
There you go.
In the house.
I had,
Hey.
oh my goodness, a couple meetings ran late and I couldn't step out. But as soon as I saw you on here, I said, I gotta get in there and say what's up to my girl. How you doing, Jen?
Hi. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. I immediately jumped on YouTube to see, who was on and, if I should even, step in. And then I heard you guys talking about schedules, booking things out. And I was like, all right, now I have to get in here.
I love it.
I got on Podmatch, tried to book out from February till April. Somehow, some way, I was booked out till October. And that was,
Oof.
I did not. That was insane. I'm like, how do these people still keep getting on my? I was on acuity scheduler, changing stuff, limiting stuff, and they were still finding ways to jump on. And so that was a long time. And yeah, starting off the show 1 a week, 2 weeks later, I was doing 5 a week.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was a full-time job. And so
It
now
is.
that's why I only go on other people's podcasts. And that's how I met Jennifer through Podmatch. I looked for our episode real quick. I couldn't find the link to it so I could post it up.
Oh, yeah, our episode is there. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I literally the other day, because I love Podmatch, I took down my calendar link because same thing. Somehow people were getting in there and they were booking, or I also had a wait list up there and they weren't reading it. It specifically at the top said wait list. They're like, I'm booked. And I'm like, no, you're not. So I'm like, you know what? No more confusion. I just took it all down and I just tell people, thank you. Circle back in 6 months or circle back in June, circle back here. Yeah. Just for simplicity's sake now. It just,
Yeah, I just do other people's shows. It's the editing and the uploading and put the titles and SEO. It was so much. And I was like, let me stay in my lane. Some people are good at this and they enjoy doing it. I know a lot of podcasters that enjoy that aspect of it, editing, and they feel great about their work. I don't feel great and accomplished when I do all that.
Yeah, there is a fine line. I always say that how I look at podcasting is when I am hosting, I am playing host. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not even really, I'm present and I'm listening, but I'm playing host to make sure you sound great and I'm getting from you what our listeners want. Then when I go back and listen and I'm editing, now I'm listening. Now I really hear everything. And then when it goes out, so I have different phases that I go through it. We'll see. I'm with you. Like I've booked myself on 20 some podcasts this month and I just love being on other people's podcasts. It is so much fun and it's so much easier. You just show, well, 9 times out of 10, I will say that I was on an interesting interview yesterday that, it definitely was challenging. And, I was burning.
There are those.
I was burning some sage afterwards. I'm gonna say I was burning some sage.
Okay.
It was one of those. Do you want to leave a review? And I was like, I think I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, the last Airbnb I stayed in, I was like, dude, you don't want me to leave a review.
No.
Like, I'm just going, you don't want
it, right? And how cool is it that we know what it's like? Like I don't need to go into that vibration, right? Silence is everything. It speaks volumes.
Well, you're explaining why it is. You were mentioning, both of you were mentioning editing, and I don't edit. I just publish.
You do, you smart.
Because I learned something really, really important because I used to edit. I did for quite some time. And then I realized that I was taking some of the best meat and gravy out of the podcast. Because all those little glitches and those crazy moments and so forth, they were funny. They were interesting. They twisted. They did all kinds of stuff to make it even more interesting than it was before. I said, why am I taking out the good stuff? It's like taking the gravy off the mashed potatoes. Why would you do that?
You know what, though? I'm going to give you this. Because all of your shows are this, right? You're taking this recording?
Yeah.
But see, it's live and we're in video. When you're recording a podcast, they'll stop 20 minutes in and say, I'm sorry, can you back up and just take this part out? Now you have to go in, or they'll sneeze, or their dog will start barking uncontrollably and they got to run them outside and bring them back. None of that's going to happen live. So I can see why you do that. But I used to have to go in there and I would write on a piece of paper. All right, 16 minutes in.
Honest to God, I have people who have the dog who interfere. I never get a request. I never ever get that request.
That's where like the OCD that Neo and I have, that's when that kicks in. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I've even switched. So when I first started podcasting, I only wanted to do audio. And I, at the time, had a lot of people in my ears like, no, you have to do video too. And So I did for a year. And finally, I received the message and I was like, you know what? I love audio. People are more vulnerable, I find, when there's no video going and we're just talking. 100%. And I will even say about myself.
I'm more vulnerable.
Even me, I'm more vulnerable. I will be 100% transparent without video. So this year, there's no videos.
Except for this one.
except for the no, when I personally, when I'm
I
hosting,
got you.
there's no more videos. There's no more videos. Like it's just audio because that audio is king. And I also have a heads up that for 2023 and going forward, because of things that are unrolling or breaking through or breaking down, however you want to look at it for 2023, audio will be king within 3 to 4 months. And you'll see it play out for various reasons in the
I could
next
see
few
that.
weeks.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
could see that.
I'll give you an even different perspective on this because 99.9% of my listeners are audio only. Very, very few people actually see the video. So most of what we're doing, we're recording for the audio. And I've actually found I get more in-depth answers with the video, which is the opposite of what you guys are talking about. Yeah.
Well, it's you. It's the starry background.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Well, the universe has my back. I can always count on that. So,
Totally that. It's totally that, right? And again, it's all in how you're at it and what's going on. And if him and I are just doing one show a week and we're launching 1 to 2, it's different than every day. I mean, I give you kudos. I think it's awesome. I would love to be able to say, screw it, I'm not going to edit anymore. Oh my God, wait, I think the hair on my arms just stood up.
I've actually transitioned. I'm not editing nothing anymore. If it happens, it happens. But I've done several. On the other note, I've done several live streams with my phone face down, and I tell people ahead, and I'll put it in the comment. This is just going to be me. I've done it where I've held a card on top of my phone, and I just walk back and forth in my room, pacing, talking. But that's where and Jennifer, we talked about this too on your podcast. From midnight till 2 in the morning, I'm basically talking out loud, coming up with new ideas and concepts. If I don't have anything, I'll meditate and something will come to me and I'll jump up and speak it into a recorder. So that's when I am most creative and tapped into source and pulling that information live. And I like doing that live so people can see it's just coming to me and it's beautiful and it works. It's and I love that part about it. But if I had the camera on me, I would feel uncomfortable pacing. I would feel like I needed to be the right shaved and all that other stuff. Without the camera, I'm just me. I'm like,
that makes sense because it's just you talking. It's not a conversation at that point.
That's true.
If it's not a conversation, you really don't want to have the video because then you just become self-conscious.
Yeah, it's too much. And some people, are overly self-conscious at all times. You got to add that factor in. But yeah, that has really changed my dynamic doing that. But I love it.
I love it. And I hope that this inspires your audience out there if they've ever wanted to do a podcast. I mean, you have 3 very different and similar perspectives. And so the most important part is there's no right or wrong way.
Right. Exactly.
Follow your heart. And oh, by the way, you can change. Yeah. You hear me saying how I've changed. Neo's changed. Walt's just doing his thing, which is awesome. But it's like you learn and you grow and you are allowed to change. Change your mind, change your hair, change your podcast. It's okay. Change.
Mine has changed over a 10-year period. Mine has changed in about 4 different directions over that 10-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only thing constant is change, baby. I was just talking with this guy about affirmations and he felt bad about changing them. And I said, no. It's not like a mantra that sticks with you your whole life. Your affirmation is going to change because you've succeeded in that goal. So you're going to make a new affirmation for the next. But even if you haven't succeeded in it, it could change every week. Tweak one word, tweak the whole thing. Do not be afraid of that. If you change your affirmation or it's just not rolling with you, be done with it. Consider that a sign of progress. It's a good thing.
It's also part of connecting to yourself because it means you're listening to any kind of internal signals that your inner being is generating to you and saying, okay, I'm going to adjust to what feels better.
Right.
Listening and learning from it as opposed to just listening and not doing shit about it.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to think, I mean, I look at the last 3 years as a hodgepodge, right? Like everybody threw everything into the damn salad and it needs to be cleaned up. Like that is not healthy. Like we all need to get back to the nitty gritty, salt of the earth, and figure out our stuff and regroup because things are changing and progressing. And you've got to figure out, where are you? Are you just floating around and just pulling here and there? What's your direction? What's in your heart? What's in alignment with you, not the rest of the world, because so much is changing.
And with all the crazy stuff that's been going on, it's really the most amazing opportunity, because
Oh.
that's when we get the best change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, stuff is changing, and sometimes it's kind of hard to keep up with it. But the more that we try to get ourselves to change within and to adapt, first of all, the easier it gets. I mean, it gets a whole lot easier. And second of all, we realize, my God, the growth that I'm doing in this period far outpaces anything that I did before.
Mm-hmm.
Far outpaces. I mean, we're not talking like a little bit. We're talking like 3 to 4, 5, 6 times over. It's amazing how big
Right.
the shift is when you're going through the rough stuff.
Truly. And I would say in a different aspect of that, recently I have found myself going back to the beginning, going back and making things simpler.
Mhm.
When was my life simpler? When was I more happiest? And how can I bring that forward now with all the growth that I've had and learned? For instance, like the podcast. Look, I'm just going back to audio. It's just easy, it's simple, and it's fine. It just works. It's simplified. I've simplified my life off of social media. There is only one platform I'm on, and that's LinkedIn. You'll see me. My face is everywhere, but I'm not everywhere anymore.
Yeah.
So it's all in what you resonate with, and that's okay too. And
I'm in
that's
the
going
same
to change.
space with social media right now. Social media, if I'm on for 3 minutes in a day, it's a lot. I mean, just
Get
I'm
in
not
and get
spending
out.
time there.
I know.
I get in, I post, and I get out. That's it.
In and
then-
out.
and people are shocked that I didn't see their feed. I'm like, I don't see anyone's feed.
I don't see anything. I don't see you. Do you have family that's like, how did you not see blah blah? I'm like, you're assuming I'm on social media, and that's on you. Like, I'm not on social media. I will pop in and pop out, and that's it. No.
Yeah, I actually tell people who are followers who try to reach out on social media lately, I've been telling them, here's my email address. That's probably going to be the quicker way to reach me, because I just don't pay attention here.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a quick response, send me the email. You get it faster that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of weeds growing. There's a lot of graveyards that are out there on social media now. So the best way is to go to someone's property that they own, which is Walt's website, Neo's website, or my website. That's the best way to get into contact with us and to truly get us, period. DM us. Like, we want to have a conversation with you. We want to continue everything.
Yeah.
And take the noise out of it and go directly to what you want.
I want to share this with everybody now. I totally forgot about that. Well, I revamped my website.
Oh, you did? You've been talking about it.
Switched it from Squarespace to Wix once I found out all the stuff that I could do with as far as sending the newsletter and growing a community. And I started this accountability partners page, because I reach out to accountability partners so we could just message each other once a day. Hey, are you staying on your game? Have you done mental check-ins?
Yeah.
And a reason why I have more than one accountability partner is because we take days off, because life is just coming at us. Right. So, I may have 5. And so now I created this forum on there. I just posted the link for everybody to join up, to just get in there once a day. Post who's staying on top of their mental exercises today. Then you help them out. And then the next day you forget and they post something. You're like, all right, I heard that alert. Let me wake up. Let me just say thank you 10 times. Or just say yes 10 times, shift my mood. So get you an accountability partner. I opened the invitation for everyone to be my accountability partner. My inbox went crazy. So now I'm pushing it over here so we can now work all for each other. So
I'm going to be really curious to see how this works out, because I did something like that on Facebook and it didn't really go anywhere, and I didn't really push it very far. I'm going to be curious to see if, like you were talking about, Jennifer, doing it on your own property, if it makes a difference. I have a feeling it might.
Well, it does, because of the energy and the vibration that's there.
Yeah.
Right. And all of us, I would consider all of us to be of a high vibration. And so when you're on social media or whatever, like, it's a hogwash. It's just too much. So that's why, it's just like whatever. So, but when you come to any of us, like now you're gonna raise your vibration and you're gonna get so much more. And I just wanted to ask Neo again, what you went from platform A to platform B. What was the platform you went to?
Squarespace.
Okay, because I've been
where you're from, isn't it? I thought you went to Wix.
I went to Wix from Squarespace.
Yeah.
Okay, Wix. Okay, because I have been I've been sitting on revamping my site because I wanted to go to something where I could build a community and build out memberships and just a lot of things that I want to do coming up, workshops, etc.
Not gonna lie, you can do that on Squarespace too. There was a blog and a forum section, and it's free on both. But with Squarespace, I found that in order to change the color of this side panel, you're changing the color of your title page, your buttons. They're all the same color, and it's templates.
I like that.
Wix, you could drag your sign-up screen right here or right there and leave it. You can change the color of the text, the outline, the box, make it rounded. You can change so much more. And like I said, I have an email subscription. I could send my emails directly from there. Crazy. I spent every night I was up till at least 4 a.m. from Monday until yesterday when I finally switched over the domain name from Squarespace to Wix, learning all that stuff. And then my friend puts me on this thing called Go High Level, which is a platform that pretty much does everything from log your customers, and it does everything you could possibly dream of on this one platform. And I'm like, all right, now I gotta watch another 40 hours worth of videos to learn how to use this. But there's programmers and all this other stuff. So yeah, I might not be on Wix for long. I plan on still keeping the website on Wix and having everything else done on Go High Level.
Okay. Did you look at, not that I want to like change the whole thing, but did you look at Show It at all?
No, I never even heard of that.
You might want to look at Show It.
Show It. Oh, she winked her eye. It must be good.
Now I'm plugging. Now we're just plugging companies. Yeah. So I am, yes, I'm looking to transfer everything, and I need simplicity. I also need 12 of me. But Show It has been winning with simplicity, and I mean it's pretty.
The first thing I do always is go on YouTube and look up the top 10 or top 5 mail, like MailChimp. I was looking for different mail platforms, MailChimp, the top 5 of such, and that never popped up in any of my videos.
I'm surprised. That and for email, I switched over to Flowdesk.
Does it accept paid email subscriptions? That was the problem. MailChimp doesn't do that, and even using Zapier, you can't get it done without having like a professional developer come here and do it.
You know what? I'm not sure. I would have to ask on that.
Because that's my thing. I do an email newsletter now 4 days a week, but I want to switch it. I'm going to be switching it to where the free plan gets 1 email a week and the paid plan gets 4 a week, because I'm going to be doing a inspirational message for 50,000 dental workers. And I want them to be able, that's going to be like 2 sentences. I want them to be able to sign up for the subscription and get the whole paragraph with the video.
Let me know how that goes. Let us know how that goes and how you set it up, and then we'll hire you.
I'll give you my people.
We're going to have a group support for websites and emails.
It's actually pretty cool because listeners are getting a direct, it's almost like they're looking over the shoulders of entrepreneurs, hearing what entrepreneurs are thinking. I mean, because both of you guys are very entrepreneurial, and just the conversation, it's kind of like a look inside your minds, and how does your mind function when you're in this space?
You know what I'm thinking? For the last 7 days or so, I have been looking and researching extensively how to learn these platforms and then leaving them for another one. I've done that like 3 times. So don't do that, man. Find the one and stick with it.
Yeah, find one that's going to do everything. And it's hard. It is hard, but what's most important, and something that when I'm working with all of my clients, especially when they're with their businesses, is it is so important to own your land, own your website, own your platform. You do not own Facebook and Instagram, and all of that stuff can go down in a heartbeat. You cannot rely on that for your business. And that is going to be proven very, very strongly by the universe in the coming weeks and months. And I
hear you keep saying that. You're going to have to explain more.
I have been advising clients on this for over 5 years now, that this was coming and to be prepared.
Is the world going to go blind? I saw a movie about that.
We're going blind?
I said, is the world going to go blind? There's a movie about that with the guy from Aquaman's in it.
Oh no. Well, I mean, if to some respect, the world has gone blind. The world has gone numb to everything, but that's a whole nother podcast. So I would say that, here today, gone tomorrow. Website and email list is gold. Those are the people that will win, not survive. They will win and thrive going forward. If you have a website and you have email list, that is key. Do not rely on certain social media platforms to hold your business, to get your clients. If you are doing that, it is time to paddle your little feeties very quickly in another direction. Very quickly.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Something else I also want to throw out too. There is the tendency to want to try to make sure that whatever platform you're using, whatever software you're using, whatever, it does everything. My recommendation is don't try to look for something that does everything. Look for something that does what you need it to do. Because you'll drive yourself crazy with the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, we all will. We're all looking for like that one pill, that one this, that one that, and sometimes it takes a few things. And it's really important you hear what Neo and I are saying and Walter's saying. It's also really important to know when it's time to ask for help.
Yes.
And I think Neo is the same. I like to learn all aspects of something before I will ever hand it off to someone else, because I want to know what I'm asking you to do. And I want to be able to be there to support you. Now, that's also,
and when you're not around, I need to be able to change.
I need to be able to do it, right? What if something, what if something happens? So I need to be able, I need to have knowledge in that. And that is an old system that goes back a long time for how companies used to build. You had to do every job before you could, proceed further. But it's also really important when you go, okay, I've now looked at every website. I've looked at every email thing. Okay, I get it. Who can do this for me? And then, being frugal Fanny that I am, I'm going to go to certain websites where I know that I can support people who really need work and I really need them. And then I'm going to hire them to help me out, because I can only do so much. As much as I want to do it all, it's impossible.
Yeah, delegation is at the root of all scalability.
It's key. And if here's something else, then we all know this with the law of attraction. I don't care what it is in your life, that if there's something you don't like to do, delegate it. I don't care if it's down to taking out the trash, delegate it, because you don't need to be unhappy in your life. Right? Walt's like, I'm not editing. Neo's like, screw it. I'm not doing a podcast. I have so much fun on being on other people's podcasts. And I'm over here finding a happy medium. So pick one of us or mold us all together, and you'll have a pretty fabulous person, I would say. But just do you, be you. There's enough of the same out there. Get out of the jail, get out of the squares, literally, on our phone, on our computers, on our tablets, and do you. The world needs you.
I want to throw this spice on top of that. For the basically from 2008 until I moved to Florida, I was hell-bent on doing it all by myself. Like you said, if I want to build a website, I'm going to watch 50,000 videos on building a website, which I'm still clearly doing. But that's because I want to know how to work it. If it's 2 a.m. and I have an inspired, let me add this tab and make this work and send it to there.
Important.
But when I first moved to Tampa, that was my whole point, was to build a team. I was opening myself to building a team. And I know one of the biggest things people feel stops them is the money aspect. It'll cost you $100 to get one video done. If you want to do 5 videos a week, it's not possible. And so I get that, but you can manifest ways to get these services for free, for barter. Someone who just, for most of I had 8 people that were working on my summit. They just wanted to be part of the cause. It started off with hiring one VA from India, and then I started manifesting a guy from Clearwater. A friend of mine from my BNI chapter wanted to jump in. Henry made my website for me. People were volunteering because they just wanted to be part of the cause. So if I would have let the limiting belief of, if it's going to cost me $100 to make one video, how much is it going to cost to make a website and make it work? And if it breaks, if I'd have went in that with that mindset, closed mind, I would have never gotten it done. But I went in with an open mind. I found a bunch of volunteers and they made stuff click. And they're still working with me now to keep things clicking. Hell, we just transferred the landing page from Webflow into Wix because I was using Webflow for the landing page for the summit and Squarespace for my website. So we're kind of like merging things together, but you can make it happen as long as you open that door in your mind that you can make it happen. Forget about the money for a second. It'll work out. They'll either come for free or you'll get a weird check that you can give to them. Make it a possibility and then let it happen.
There's an important distinction going on in this conversation too that I want to bring out. A moment ago, we were talking about delegation. Right now, you're talking about how you build something out to begin with. And the distinction here is when you're building something out, you're in the process of creating your cash flow. You're in the process of creating your flowing business. The delegation part really happens after you've created that cash flow. So you have to be the person to go create all that stuff first. Once you've done that, then the goal is delegation. Neil, my ex had a gardening service and maintenance business. I'm not sure if I told listeners about this, but much to my shock and amazement, I am now buying that business from her, and I'm going to be running that for another year, and then I'm going to basically do a cash out on it. But
Nice.
one of the things that I did the thing that made it work when she and I were still married was she was the gardener. She knew all about that side of it. I knew nothing about that, but I knew how to do the business side. So it was a perfect match in that way. And I still know how to do the business side. But what I ended up doing was I ended up taking her 60-hour week and turning it into a 15-hour week because I knew how to delegate once I had the cash flow going. And my goal this year, honestly, I'm trying to get it down to a 5-hour week.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to be able to do it.
Don't think.
But
Just
the
do.
point is,
No.
I believe. Let's put it that way. I believe that it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the key is, I already have the established cash flow. I already have the established stuff in place to make it all work. Now, delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you find enough ways to delegate it, you can actually get down to 0 hours.
I think it's the fear of, let's say you make $1,000 and you can outsource to one person for 200 and keep 8, or you can outsource to 6 people for $100 each and keep 400. It's scary. You might delegate. You might give all the money away, or let's say you keep 100 out of that 1,000. That's a scary thought. You get 1,000, keep 100, and you pay 9 people to do 100. Guess what? Paying those 9 people is the right way to go. Because the one's going to build your website, the one's going to do your ClickFunnels, the one's going to do whatever, and you're going to be a so much better person at the end of the day. That's why I'm a huge fan of taking all the profits and putting it back in.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, what really happens is you break the mindset that says there's only a certain pie of a certain size. When you build out the way you're describing, you actually grow the pie. So there's more for you to be able to keep for yourself, and you can still delegate and pay out to all those people at the same time. That's how you scale a company.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when I said delegate all of your proceeds back into it, that's for the first couple rounds, not forever.
Yeah, not forever. No.
Forever.
That's for the first couple rounds, but it's worth it. Get these experts in there to do it. I wouldn't pay $100 per video if you're doing 5 a week. I wouldn't do that, but there's other ways to do it, smarter ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
As usual, we blow through an hour. I mean, it's just crazy how fast this thing goes. Every single episode is just amazing.
Well, I got to tell you about Chicago. So
you got to tell us about Chicago? Oh, my God. What's happening?
We need a whole hour for that. We need a whole hour for that.
Oh boy.
Give us a 2-minute tease. We got time for a 2-minute tease.
Day one, I hopped on a plane with a random seat, ended up sitting next to the lady I had just met on the phone the day before.
Oh, man.
By the end of that night, the people who threw the event, they told me, tomorrow, come see me. I'm going to take you around and introduce you to everybody you need to know.
Ooh.
Day 3, I linked up with a guy who makes the mouthpieces for all of the NFL, and he's basically put me on the phone with the, like, listen, I'm a different person than I was last time you saw me. So yeah, I'm gonna break it all down for you. And there's 95 things in between that happen. Just as the universe just blowing my mind. So yeah, I'm on cloud 9. I'm blowing up, baby.
We definitely have to do a show on that then. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's super exciting.
Gosh.
That's really exciting. Jennifer, we mentioned earlier your website.
Mm-hmm.
But tell people, first of all, where to find the book, because you got the book, The Change, that just came out, you got your coaching program. If they need to reach out and talk to you and try to figure out where is their best route to go, how do they find you?
Sure. The best place to find me is at the website, jenniferpilates.com. You can check out the book. You can check out our upcoming 14-day Pilates challenge that's coming up later this month.
Ooh.
You can check up. We also have an 8-week Pilates program that will start that will take you getting you ready for your summer body. And any coaching, anything that you'd like to chat, if you just want to continue this conversation, I would love to do that right there at jenniferpilates.com.
All right, good. Love that. And something I need to tell you that I make a practice to do, because boy, it really applies to you too. It always applies to all the guests, but it really applies here too. Because you talked about, I mean, you're on 20 podcasts this month, right? Plus you do your own podcast, and you got the book, and you got the coaching, you got all this other stuff going on. You're a giver. You just give and give and give and give. And like so many givers, there are many people that you'll never meet, you'll never see, who are benefiting from it, and you don't even know about it, and you don't get to see how it plays out in so many different cases. Sometimes you do, but a lot of the times you don't. I think we need more recognition for that. So on behalf of all those people that you've never met and that you've never seen, thank you for what you've been doing and what you're continuing to do, because it's so important.
Oh, thank you. Bring tears to my eyes. Thank you, Wald. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It really is important. I mean, and Neil, the same way. I mean, well, he's actually getting to see it. I mean, he gets that rare experience of having all these people that he've never met, never seen, showing up in his face. I mean, that's really, really cool. But yeah, even the same thing applies to him too, because there's so many people that he doesn't see who still benefit from him.
Right, you too, Walt. And shout out to my military and first responders. Always got to throw that out there.
Absolutely love that. So thank you guys very much. Thank you, podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.